So I'm going to give you a few mindsets to follow here. These are mindsets when you're creating response advertising. Number one, your customers are completely irrational creatures. Completely irrational. The decisions that they're making about what to buy are not being made with logic. They're based on irrational fantasy, dream, fear, nightmare. That's what it's based on. They make the decision based on these irrational things, and then they rationalize it with logic and make the story and go, okay, I can sell that story to other people about why I bought it. You follow me? Someone goes and buys a big SUV because they feel insecure and they don't even recognize that themselves. So they buy their SUV and then they think of all the rationale, and then when you talk to them, they're talking about how, well, I often have to take my friends over to this, and so when I do the math on the gas mileage, it actually makes sense. It's good for the environment. I'm saving the trees in South America with this thing. Isn't that amazing? Right? And you hear all that kind of thing happen. But the decision was made on a completely irrational set of ideas. Number two, this comes from J. Abraham. Everything is a test. Everything is a test. Everything that you do is a test inside your business. And in marketing and advertising, everything's a test. The reason why this idea is important is that right before someone writes the $2,500 check to have their banner ads run on some website, or right before someone gives the credit card number for the $25,000 full-page ad they're running in a magazine, or right before someone finishes with their beautiful web design that they had some fancy designer put together, right before it's about to go live is when you're the most irrational. You're the most hopeful, when you're the most idealistic about how well it's going to work, where you're counting the money. And the more time and effort you put into one of these campaigns, the more irrational and the more idealistic and connected to the idea and attached to it you get, to the point where if it doesn't work in a lot of cases, you won't even believe it doesn't work. You'll just think, oh, but something must be wrong. We have to run it more. People haven't seen it enough. They don't understand how great it is. The best marketers that I know, they test small, and when they get response, then they roll out the bigger campaign. In direct marketing, there's a concept that I don't hear about it used very often anymore, but they used to do it a lot. It was called dry testing. And dry testing is running an ad for a product that doesn't exist, measuring the response, looking at all the checks that came in, and then sending everyone their money back and saying, the product doesn't exist yet, so here's your money back. To see how people vote with their wallet. Showing your friends your advertisement or your logo or your sales, I mean, it's counterproductive. Asking somebody, would you buy this? Not at all. Test. Everything's a test. Test small, and if it works small, then roll it out. I was sitting recently with a couple of friends of mine who, if I took the time to tell you about who these people were and how successful they were, and it would just make us all sick because they're so awesome. And we were talking about different business philosophy, and they were kind of giving a presentation to do it. One of them was very young. He said, yeah, we don't create products and then go find a market for them. What we do is we go test markets until we find one where there's a lot of buyers, and then we create the products for the market. I'm looking at him, at this young guy, and I'm like, how do you know this? How did you figure that out? Usually takes people until they're like retired to figure that one out, because they screwed it up so many times. Everything is a test. Test small. If it works small, try it a little bit bigger. This is how you wind up paying for results and not for advertising.